Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. I'm going to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my video review for the Wolverine. Okay, so since the movie just came out a couple days ago, last weekend, a lot of people have not had a chance to see it yet, so this review will be a non-spoiler review, meaning I won't spoil anything in the movie. If you haven't seen it yet, you can still watch the video and just hear my thoughts on the movie very generally. I'll speak about everything so as not to get too specific and get into spoiler territory. Now, I want to apologize right off the bat because I wanted to do the review on opening day. However, I was not able to because I had to work a bunch of 6 a.m. start shifts with work, and I just, too many days in a row of work, and I did not have the energy to go to the theater, watch it, and then shoot the review afterwards. So I finally got a chance to check out the movie, and overall, coming from a person who's a huge Wolverine fan, I absolutely loved X-Men Origins Wolverine, even though I see all the different problems with it. I accept that technically it's a bad movie. The plot is not very deep. It's not very intellectual. It's a prequel, but there's problems with the universe. Like you have Emma Frost thrown in there when she really shouldn't be. You have a lot of different things that don't really mesh up or match well with the other X-Men movies and don't make sense. A lot of different stuff. But I do really enjoy X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I watched that movie probably about 5 times just because how much of a Wolverine fan I am. Maybe more than that, actually, now I think about it. And there was a lot of characters from the comic books that we got to finally see in the movies. Like we got to see Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, who's a perfect cast, if you ask me, although handled horribly bad at the end of the movie. We got to see Lev Schreiber as Sabretooth. I thought he was a fantastic Sabretooth. Great villain. And we got to see Stryker, who was a character that was built up really well in the X-Men cinematic universe. So I did enjoy the first one, even though, like I said, I accept it's not a good movie. I gave it 2 ratings. I gave it a pretty good rating for someone who's a fan of comic books, and not so good a rating for someone who's not and just a regular moviegoer. This one will be sort of similar to that in that if you're a fan of Wolverine and the Wolverine comics, obviously you're going to enjoy it more than just an average moviegoer. I do feel like comparing this movie, The Wolverine, to X-Men Origins Wolverine, this movie is a better made movie, I feel. It's got more emotion for the characters. It's got more character development, having Logan battle his inner demons. If you guys have seen the previews online, trailers, you see that Jean does return for some different scenes in it. Obviously, inner demon type thing too. But still, it's really nice, nod to the fans who are fans of X-Men that they were able to get Femic Jansen, is it? Not exactly sure you say her name, something like that, to return as Jean and just, kind of play that inner demon, that emotional, because this takes place after the events of X-Men 3. So this is after Wolverine and X-Men 3 had to put her down. So, if you guys remember. So, he has to deal with the guilt of that now, of having killed someone he really loved. So, that, has basically, taken over him as a man. The guilt, he's just guilt-stricken at the beginning of the movie. As you can see in the previews, he's got, really long, he hasn't shaved in probably years. His hair is really long. He's living in like the forest, just like a wildling, totally on his own, kind of shut down. And I think that the progression for Wolverine in this movie, without getting too much more into the details, is fantastic all the way through. The choices that he has to make and the decisions of, for example, in the trailer as well, another character basically gives him an offer whether or not he would like to die, essentially, because he is basically cursed with immortality. And that's a blessing and it's a curse at the same time, because as you go through several different lifetimes, the people that you love, the people that you care about, are going to eventually die, and you're going to be there because you're immortal. You're going to continue to just be. And in a way, depending on how you look at it, without a purpose in life, that could be seen as a curse. So I think that level of analysis of the character that the movie takes, that level of understanding of the character of Wolverine, makes this just right there more intellectual than X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was just like a simple action movie. Granted, this has a simple action movie parts to it too. There are some pretty cool scenes where you see Wolverine, and I'll never really get tired of seeing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, just dicing guys and just killing guys left, right, and center. I'll never get tired of it, no matter how many times I see it. I see it in the 3 X-Men movies, see it in Origins, and now that's 5 movies where we've seen Wolverine just dicing people up and just smoking people. I don't know if any of the action scenes are as good as X2 in the kitchen, where Wolverine stabs the dude in the foot and then stabs the dude through the fridge. That's like, for me, the all-time holy cow moment, holy shit moment. I love that moment in X2. This one, the action scenes are pretty good, I'd like to say. The acting is usually on par. There's a few points here and there, though, that I felt like Hugh Jackman actually gave a better performance in X2 and some of the X-Men movies as he does here, with the shouting and the ferocity of Wolverine, that berserker, In this one here, it's pretty similar, but I just feel like in the past, maybe some of the other movies, that berserker side came out a little bit better than it did here. For some reason, I don't know if he used different tactics in this one to prepare for the scenes or whatever, but in X2, when he goes into berserker, and X3, I enjoy it very much. Very cool stuff. Hugh Jackman, as always, does an amazing job, and I think we're lucky to even get this many Wolverine movies. If you think about a lot of other characters and actors, like Robert Downey Jr. was recently, his contract ended, and he seemed like he didn't want to come back as Iron Man. So I think we're pretty blessed that Hugh Jackman does want to continue with Wolverine, and is even interested of trying to see if he can get Wolverine into the Avengers or something else, even though Fox would never allow it. He's talked about that at Comic-Con, and he's a fan too, which is awesome, of the character as well. So to see that, whereas versus other actors who don't want to play those characters after a few movies, it's pretty special that he is willing to continue, and he'll be in his 6th or 7th, let's see, 3 X-Men movies, Origins, The Wolverine, cameo in First Class, and X-Men Days of Future Past next year. That's 7. He's been in 7 movies, even though one was just a cameo. 6 if you want to count him as a main character. So that's pretty amazing that we've been that lucky to get the same guy to do 6 comic book movies. We usually can't even get them to do like 2 or 3, So that's pretty amazing that he returns. Now, so that's in terms of that. There's more emotion in the movie. There's more character development in the movie. The action's decent. There's a few weird scenes, like you can see online in one of the trailers that IGN released. There's a fight that takes place on a train in Japan, which the effects with Fox and the Wolverine movies, same with X-Men Origins, sometimes the effects are not the greatest. I don't know what it is, why they can't seem to make everything look really realistic with all the technology nowadays. It looks cool and everything, but it doesn't look that realistic, some of it. And with that too, with the comic book characters and the way they use them in the movie, certain ones in this one feel a little cheesy. You have this character named Viper, and the effects for her are not the greatest. Sometimes it takes me out of the experience. The different things that she can do is kind of cool for the most part, but the way she looks, and it's very, very comic booky, and the things that happen near the end of the movie, again, no spoilers, so some of the villains are a little far-fetched, I would have to say. That's as much as I can say without getting into spoiler territory, is that the villains in this one are a little far-fetched. Are they worse than Origins? Well, in Origins you got Baraka Deadpool, which was an atrocity. So, I would say, the villains in this are pretty good. The Silver Samurai is really cool. Viper's okay. The things that she can do is pretty interesting, pretty cool. And let's see, then you have Yuriko, Lady Deathstrike, who actually in this one doesn't really play a villain at all, but then again, Lady Deathstrike, she did love Wolverine first before he did, what did he do? He did something in the comic books, and then she wanted to kill him afterwards. I think he killed her father or something like that. I forget exactly. It's been a while since I've read these types of stories, probably over 5, 6, 7, 8, probably near around 8 or 9 years since I was collecting Wolverine Origins books and different X-Men books and actually reading them. It's been a long time. So, in terms of the villains, they're all pretty good, but the thing about it is this one takes place in Japan, so you're not going to get those key, like Sabretooth will always be Wolverine's arch nemesis, he goes to Japan. It kind of feels like a side adventure, that he gets into in this movie. And it makes for an okay movie, but it does feel sort of like an adventure movie, like Wolverine's going to Japan on an adventure, this type of thing. It does feel like that. The intro scenes are really cool where Wolverine gets hit by an atomic bomb. It's pretty sweet. And same with Origins. The opening really started off well. You have Wolverine and Sabretooth, and they're running, and you got the wars and stuff, the flashbacks. So that's very interesting stuff. I love to see all that stuff, and there's quite a bit of that in this movie too, which is cool. I like that part of it too. But in terms of the most recognizable villains, Sabretooth will always be Wolverine's most recognizable, arch nemesis. He's like the Joker to Batman, so that's how it's going to be. You can't really change that. Silver Samurai is cool too, and the whole Japan thing is a new environment. It's fun. You have new characters. You got ninjas. You've got new, environments. Great, beautiful environment shots, and that all looks really, really nice. So overall, in terms of the movie, I'm going to give it... for people that are just average moviegoers who are not fans of Wolverine, I don't know if they're going to like it that much. If you like action movies and you checked out the X-Men movies, I think you'll probably like it. For those type of people, just as a general score, overall score, I'll give it a 6.5. As a comic book fan score, I'm going to give it, if you're a fan of Wolverine, I'm going to give it an 8 because, it does do a really good job of capturing the essence of the books that it's based on, Wolverine going to Japan and Silver Samurai and all these different types of characters. But, I was kind of curious at first, like, how is that going to translate to a movie? How are you going to translate those types of stories into a movie? I didn't think that they would really make for a great movie, because some things you read in a comic book and it makes sense and it's great for a comic book. You go to transition that into a movie, and sometimes... I don't know if it works out all that well. And after watching the movie, I still I'm not certain on whether a lot of those elements really did come through that well that were just portrayed in the books. So, with this, it's kind of, it is a lot of fun if you like Wolverine. If you like X-Men, it's kind of a must-see, I would say, if you really like X-Men, you like the character. And really, the biggest thing is that it just pumps you up for Days of Future Past, because it's like you have Wolverine there by himself, and he kicks ass, and he's such a badass character, and we've seen him now have his own movies where he does his own thing, and it'd just be really fun to see him back in the X-Men lineup, fighting alongside with them against Sentinels and Trask, and all these things. I can't wait to see Days of Future Past. I cannot wait for that. And this movie does pump that up a little bit. So that's good stuff. I enjoy that as well too. Without getting into spoiler territory, I can't really say too much else on the movie other than just, if you like Wolverine, if you can shut your brain off and just enjoy it, not take it too seriously, and just enjoy it as a comic book superhero movie, then I think you will really like it and you'll enjoy it. The only thing is that the genre is becoming so watered down with so many different superhero movies. I don't know if there's still room anymore for all these different characters to get solo films. I mean, you look at this year, look at what we got. We got Man of Steel, Iron Man 3, The Wolverine, Kick-Ass 2, and Thor. And probably some others, if you want to consider R.I.P.D. as a comic book movie. There's another one. So that's 6 right there, and maybe even some others I'm not even thinking of. 6 comic book movies a year. People may start to get a little bit tired of the genre. I'm interested to see if this is going to be the last Wolverine movie, or if they're going to, continue and make a third one after Days of Future Past. It seems like Hugh Jackman is willing to, and the fact that he's willing to means that it could happen, definitely. But, I don't know where they would take the character. I don't know how much there is left, because, a lot of the characters that were in X-Men are not around anymore. You've got Cyclops is basically seemingly been killed. So was Professor X, although they're going to probably bring both of them back in Days of Future Past. Jean's dead. Sabretooth is still out there somewhere, but I don't know if they want to reuse him as a villain. They could maybe do like an Omega Red type thing. I think that in the future, for future movies, with regards to Wolverine and Hugh Jackman's character, I think they should stick to having him in X-Men movies where he's not the only character, you have all the X-Men, and he's a big part of that. That is where I think he functions best. We've had 2 movies, solo movies of him already. The novelty has worn off, which is the thing about this movie where it's like, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, or as much as X-Men Origins. Not because it's worse than X-Men Origins, it's probably better, but I didn't enjoy it as much because that was the first one. It struck while the iron was hot. We had never seen a Wolverine standalone movie before, and we only got so many scenes with him in X-Men, we couldn't wait to see him in a standalone movie, and that's why the movie did better at the box office, I think. Now, in the sequel, The Wolverine, the novelty has worn off, and now we're like, okay, are we going to keep coming back? And that, for me, is why I think they should probably, in the future, stick to doing Wolverine as part of X-Men in X-Men movies, if they're going to make another one after Days of Future Past, which I guess we'll see how Days of Future Past does. I hope they do. But in terms of standalone Wolverine movies, I don't know if it's going to work in the future. I don't know if people are still going to be interested. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about The Wolverine, which one you like better, X-Men Origins or The Wolverine, and whether or not you think we're going to see another Wolverine movie in the future. I don't think we will. I think it'll be, from now on, just straight X-Men movies, unless Hugh Jackman really wants to do it and Fox thinks they can make some cash on it. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.